Good morning. So, we are at the Grand Canyon. First time I've been in this area. See some funky texture stuff. We are in the CJ4 since I can somewhat fly this plane. And we're going to do a little hop from the Grand Canyon over to McCarran International Airport in Vegas. So this should be a fun little flight, not a lot to do on it. I think I'm happy with my fuel. Let's get this plane powered on. I let the game pick my ceiling in the low altitude airways. I believe it set me to 6,000 feet, which I don't think is going to be enough. So I think towards the latter half, it's doing this stupid little hop, sending me up to like 8,000 feet right before my descent. I think there's a couple mountains that I need to fly over. So it's going to be a little interesting to see how that works out, just because... yeah. So I may actually use ATC to request higher flight area. Wow, that sucks if those houses are really that close. Yep, 6,000 feet. Okay. All right. Get pushed back far enough. A little further. And we're good. Alright, so let's give it some thrust. Get ourselves turning. Alright, so we're going to go down to the end of the runway here, and then we're going to work our way back. Probably going a bit too fast here, but whatever. Alright, let's use this time to configure my AutoPilot. That's way too high since I'm only going to 6,000 feet right now. Vertical speed. Get that going. Let's get nav up. Let's get bank control on. Can't turn yaw damper on. Turn flight director on. I think we are ready to go on that front. Can't think of anything else that I need. So we are almost to the end of the runway. I forgot to announce my taxi.
Kilo Papa Golf Alpha traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra is taxiing to runway 33.
Alright. So, I've got my nav up, I've got... Turn you on, I don't know if that's going to help me or not, but I think we'll be fine. Alright. Ooh, that's quite a bump. A little staging area. Doesn't look like the Grand Canyon's quite right out there, but that's alright. Wow, turn, Mr. Plane. Just slow down to 3 knots to get this thing to turn. Alright.
Kilo Papa Golf Alpha traffic Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra taking off runway 33 straight out departure.
Alright, so we are ready to go. Once we get on the runway, everything's locked in. No need to wait, let's get going. I like how I'm getting a runway incursion when I'm following the instructions I was given. Bit of a wind here. Coming up on the speed and the end of the runway here. Whoa, wind. Hello. Okay, let's get that out. Let's throttle ourselves down a little bit here. Let's get ourselves turning. Let's contact Denver.
Golf Sierra is at 5,600 feet, climbing 6,000 feet. Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra Denver Center, continue descent as planned. Altimeter 29.902.
Whoa, what are you doing? Is AutoPilot not on here?
Denver Center Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra. Request 8,000 feet. Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra climb and maintain 8,000 feet.
Alright, so we're on our way up. Let's switch over to vertical speed so that we can get up there. Alright. We are on our way. Let's bring the map over, show you what we're doing here. So it's a short little flight. We only have a few little areas to go, and then we'll begin our descent once we clear those mountains. Come down in, make a hard right at Flies, and then somewhere around Hako, I think, we should pick up the localizer, or Baker. Somewhere in that range, we should pick up the airport's information for landing on ILS. I'm not gonna go over all the steep big mountains, but I just want to make sure that I have enough altitude for anything that may happen here. Not many planes would be flying that low as business jets. Not a lot to see right there. I remember an FSX flying out of that airport a couple of times, and like you'd go off the edge of that cliff and right there's this massive Grand Canyon. So I really hope they get some of these texture things fixed before too much longer. I am getting about 35 FPS right now, which isn't too bad. I think that's just because it's all scenery, which isn't bad. It just is kind of surprising because there's a lot of different terrain detail and shadowing and changes here that I would think would hit the GPU a little harder than they are. If I go to a city like the other day when I was at Chicago testing the sensitivity out, it was surprising how rough everything was. I was in the teens for a little while there taking off, and that was just insane. You can't fly the plane. You don't need a ton of FPS to make this game look gorgeous, but they changed something, because I've tooled around Chicago a number of times getting upwards of 32 FPS in some spots, and on average about 24, 25 usually. So I was a little disappointed in whatever changes they made that really kind of broke that down. So, alright, I'm going to start the fast forward, and we'll see you when we start our approach to McCarran. So, as you can no doubt see, I am struggling significantly with autopilot, so I'm just going to turn him completely off.
Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra contact Las Vegas approach on 125.025.
125.025 Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra.
Because autopilot be trying to kill me here.
Las Vegas approach Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra is out of 11,000 feet for 8,000 feet.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-Ray Golf Sierra Las Vegas approach continue to armed as planned. Altimeter 29.92.
See, autopilot just wants to kill me. Alright, I'm going to have to fly the rest of this entire thing manually. I have no idea what autopilot is trying to do to me here. I am frankly a little bit stunned. Alright, so let's try to turn on flight director, vertical speed. Let's turn on... I'm not going to touch altitude right now because I got vertical speed. Nav is on. Half bank is on. I don't know what that means. Let's get this one over here.
Frontier Flight 2025, you are 14 miles east of Las Vegas. Contact Las Vegas Tower on 118.75 when inbound on the approach.
What are you trying to do to me, autopilot?
Tower 118.75 Frontier Flight 2025.
Now that everybody in my plane is sick and probably dead, I don't know if I dare turn autopilot on again. Okay, what are you doing with me? Don't go nuts. I think you're just trying to get me back on course. Yeah.
Maintain present heading and altitude. Expect ILS runway 26 right approach by FLYDS transition clear
Okay.
to FLYDS Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra.
Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra descend and maintain 6,500 feet.
Descend and maintain 6,500 feet Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra.
Alright, so we're almost back on course. There's the airport. I have no idea what went wrong with autopilot and why it just decided to go completely bonkers. We're coming in on 26 right, I believe. We should get the localizer here pretty soon, but I have zero faith that it's going to work this time. I sang its praises last time. Not so confident after that autopilot mishap. Okay, we've picked it up, so we're in the flight path. I'm going to let this thing level out. I need to start definitely bleeding off some of my speed here. This plane does not have enough flaps to really deal with that, so I'm going to let it kind of straighten itself up on the runway, and then I'm going to kick on approach.
5,400 feet.
Oop.
Descend and maintain 5,400 feet Cessna X-Ray Golf Sierra.
So I'm a bit too close. Let me pull out the VFR map. So there's another plane coming in front of me, which is pretty cool. I think when I get up to Hawk, which is the one I said is when I'll kick it on, I'm on my way down to 5,400 feet. The plane might actually already be in the vector, but see, what's it doing? Where are you taking me, airplane? I have done nothing, and suddenly I'm flying away from my course. What are you doing? Alright, I just turned approach on. No, don't go nuts.
Tower on 118.75 Cessna X-ray Golf Sierra.
Why are you banking hard to the right, plane? Approach mode is on. I can't get the yaw dampers to work. Plane is going hard to the left. Are you gonna recover here? What are you doing? What are you doing, plane? Alright, so I've got to fly fully manual. This is absurd. Really cheesed off, man. I don't know what happened, but this thing is completely broken at the moment. I'm still climbing. Come on, game. Okay, I'm dropping my gear. I am miles too high again, being back up at this altitude. Alright. Drop to 18. I am way too high. But I'm going to come down smooth as possible here, flying 100% manual, no thanks to AutoPilot. Let's drop the first set of flaps, compensate. Do not climb, plane, do not climb. Thank you. Okay, we're heading down again, but we are still ridiculously too high. Getting some serious lag, down to 15 FPS. Strip is rendering in. Alright, let's bleed this altitude off. And alive. No. Let's cut more speed. Cut more speed. Full flaps. There goes the speed. Let's get the throttle up again. Now we're starting to get back to where I should be altitude wise. Whoa, now we're getting top heavy. Yep. No plane, no. Oh, bugger. Okay. That was a horrible mess. Tune the ground. Taxi to parking.
Taxi to parking.
Cessna Alpha Sierra X-ray Golf Sierra taxi to gate 246 using taxiway Charlie 4 Bravo Charlie
How can you tell me to taxi the gate? I didn't ask for a gate. I asked for a parking space. This guy's on his roll. Nicely done, sir. You look like you have proper flight controls. Alright, so the elephant in the room. What, excuse my language, the hell was that? Seriously. I'm in the middle of flying, nothing crazy had happened, and then all of a sudden my autopilot just decides to make hard banks left to the right, practically barrel rolling me upside down. I mean, seriously, I have no earthly idea why randomly my autopilot just completely failed to function. And it did it multiple times. Now, I can understand it desperately trying to get back on course, but I have half bank on, I turned the yaw damper on, and it just nothing seemed to actually be on. Hello, little guy. So it was all over the place. And then once I got back on course, the approach system was just turning me all over the place. So yeah, autopilot is still very much a hit or miss and completely random, which is really depressing because that should have been a much better flight than it actually ended up being. We had a good takeoff, we had a good travel up until that point, and then everything just went nuts. So I'll have to take a look, see what I did wrong, maybe. There's every possibility that I did something to screw the autopilot up, but I really don't know what I would have done other than just try to descend the aircraft. Maybe I bumped the wrong control and ended up sending it careening to its death. I really couldn't say, but either way, that was really unfortunate. Thankfully, minus 90 on the throttles or the system here is enough to let me actually fly the plane. So twitchy, nerve-wracking, but we had a pretty decent approach overall. My flare wasn't too bad, I just wasn't great on the landing, but overall I think that was pretty good, all things considered. So yeah, autopilot. Come on, Microsoft, get that stuff fixed. I was hoping to have a good, fun flight to show. Instead, I just about crashed. I killed all my passengers. We barrel rolled. The plane almost disintegrated. My typical flight. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time.